Hello, you Bitcoin mining legends. It's me, Johnny, and I'm here to talk about Stratum OS. Now, currently this is out with a couple of people for testing. They have the ISO, they are burning it with Balena to their devices as we speak, so I'm waiting on feedback there. What I want to talk to you about is what this is, what it does, and how you can go about getting it and the sort of timeline for release and all that kind of stuff. I'm also going to run you through the actual interface and show you the operating system itself and tell you what it is and what it isn't. So first off, Stratum OS is an operating system that I've put together. This is fully focused on blockchain, but it will also do other stuff. It will run Home Assistant and Node-RED and all that kind of stuff as well. Typical that you'd get that kind of thing on other unmentioned devices and brands, but it works on this. It works absolutely fine. It's not just around blockchain, but it is most importantly centralized around it. It is designed for blockchain operations primarily. It is called Stratum OS, mostly Stratum with a 5. The reason for that is because Stratum was obviously taken. Who'd have thought? But Stratum with a 5 because it is the 5th layer of blockchain operation. Now, the blockchain operation in layers, the first would be the hardware layer. So that's ASIC CPUs, disks, power, all the stuff that we use in terms of hardware to get things running. The second layer is the host system operating system, so general purpose OS or Linux kernel drivers, file system, that kind of thing. Then we have the layer 3, the blockchain protocol itself. In fourth place, we have the node implementation. So it's Bitcoin Core, NOTs, BHCN, Digibyte Core, and so on. And then layer 5 is the operational operating system, which in this case is Stratum. And that runs above the node software. It runs on top of the host OS, and it operates nodes as managed systems. So it is the 5th layer of blockchain operation. I'm not touting this to be a host system OS. This is an operating system running on Debian Trixie, and it's fully integrated into that. Other things that it is it's optimized for blockchain. Now, blockchain is obviously a very large file size in terms of the chunk of data, but the files within are really small. So you end up on a traditional file system having lots of very small files in quite large chunks. Now, this is fine for mixed use, but obviously for blockchain operations, we need to have small pigeonholes to put small files in, and then obviously have the caching set appropriately for those file sizes. Now, what I've noticed on a whole bunch of different operating systems that run nodes is that we end up putting in, things just take ages, like synchronizing chains and so on. And there's two reasons why it takes ages. One is obviously the block size on the data partition, and the other is a lot of these boxes, I'm not going to say the name, but one in particular locks a lot of resources down to one CPU. So if you've got a 4 CPU box, an 8 CPU box, you might have a single instance running on one core, and that's just no good. This doesn't do that. This obviously uses all the cores and it does it properly. Now, this is running on a VM. It's running on my Proxmox. This does have 12 cores and it has 62.8 gig of memory. Ignore that. This will work on 16 gig of memory. Absolutely fine. It will probably work on 8, but don't hold your hopes up for Digibyte. It's not going to work well with Digibyte on 8 gig. Prereqs really are minimum 16 gig and 2 or 4 cores. We'll start from there. The interface itself comprises of 2 panels, a left-hand side panel and a top panel. They're both collapsible, so if you actually hit the pin, you can snap that open and closed. And the same with the left side as well. I'll keep them open for now because it just makes things a bit easier and it stops your eyes from going all pointing outwards and stuff. The home screen is the Fleet page. Now, the Fleet page actually interfaces with the AxSuite applications directly. So it's pulling data from those applications and displaying it in a reasonably tasteful manner here. We have all of our workers on the right hand side, so what workers we have, and that has the coin they're working on, the hash rate, the best share, the last share. We've got all that info here. We've got inactive workers, so if workers have been active on a different node, for example, and are no longer on that node, we'll have that information available just down here below. That will on a refresh disappear to prevent sort of page clutter. On the left side, we have fleet hash rates. This is all of your devices and the hash rate of them all combined, and then it shows a split of where that is going. So you can see I'm putting 90+% into BCH, a very small amount into BTCF, which is Bitcoin and fractal merge mining. It will just do Bitcoin if that's what you want it to do. And then a very small fraction into DGB, which is great for testing, but the reality is DGB, honestly, for profit is pretty useless. The cost involved in mining a block are hideous. Unless you've got free power, then by all means. If you've got free power and you enjoy just hitting blocks, hit DGB. Personally, for me, it's about testing and getting it working for you guys, but it's all about BCH and then the chance on Bitcoin for me. Now, I run most of my stuff on Bitcoin Cash because I see that as a viable option, and the offset against electricity is almost nominal to your block win. For me, I stick a couple of small miners on Bitcoin because it's a lottery, and if I get lucky, I get lucky. But I don't mind wasting 2-3 terahash thereabout on Bitcoin rather than putting it into Bitcoin Cash because I like the lottery odds, and that's why. Below we've got the mining overview, so each node and what it's doing. So there's BCH, BTC and DGB. It's showing the sync and the hash rate, the amount of workers and the best share and everything else. Under apps, this is where all of your apps are. You can drag and drop these onto different pages if you wish. So you have page 1, page 2. You can also add in pages as well. So this, you'll be able to have all of your applications assigned within here and split them up into different pages should you wish. The applications in here are all the applications you have installed, so anything you do install will appear in this application section for continuity. The workbench area, if you click on it and you have nothing open, just displays the fleet page. If you open up one of your apps, it will then display in the workbench, and anything that is open will be surrounded by a beautifully coloured border. Same when you are collapsed as well, you get the small border. So it shows you what's running. In here I've got AxeBCH, this is a dev version. I've got 4 workers, 104 terahash, accepted shares, and I've got my Nano, NerdOctax, NerdQX and Q running in here at the moment. What happens is, and I won't go into the applications because you've all seen the applications, most of you guys are running these things already, so I'll show you I'll focus on the OS. Next up, if I was to open up, let's say, AxeBTCF, it opens it in a separate pane, and I can then scroll that as well. If I have that unpinned and that unpinned, we get a larger working area, so it allows you to scroll. But again, these apps, you can see where the design has gone into the cards, allows you to scale and scroll correctly given the format. Now if you were to open up a third app, let's open up DGB, that opens it up at the bottom, which is fine. For reference, you can still see what's going on. If you open up a fourth, let's open up Axe Live, doesn't really make a difference. That's starting the app and it's now running, so it gives you 4. You have the ability to swap these around, so you can move these around wherever you want and drag and drop them depending on where you want your layout. And as you remove an app, it will change the layout, and you can grab this one, stick it up here for example, so you can drag and drop wherever you like. And I can't close that because I'm in the way. If I wanted to close that for example, then it goes back to 2. If I close that, it goes back to 1. Now if you do have 2 open, or indeed if you've done 1 open, you can fire it out in a new window, or if you have 2 open, you can enlarge 1 to show the focus on 1 and then minimize it, or you can shoot it out into a new tab where it opens in a new window entirely by itself. We've also got down here the ability to pin these, so we can pin it to the drawer, which will keep it there even when it's not running. We've got hide from workspace, restart, stop, redeploy for if you want to redeploy the containers, and the one that you've all been waiting for, the move data, which I'll show you in a sec. We've also got an uninstall option from there. And if I pop back into the apps section, we have something similar. So Doom, for example, again, pin to drawer. We can pin it down here if we were to do that. It pins it here, even though it is stopped, and it shows it is stopped. We also have the option to redeploy and move data. If I want to move the data, I'm going to move it to an internal drive. It's going to start the data migration, so it will stop the instance, stop the app, migrate the data to your other drive, and this could be an external drive that you've plugged in. It's then going to migrate the data, update all the tags and resources and running locations, and then once it's done, it's already in that location. Once it's done, you've then got that available to use in that second location. So It's already on local storage, and the data's already on the second. I've been messing around, but trust me, it does work. Let's do it with tail scale. Let's move the data to internal. We'll stop and move so it knows it's running. We'll move this data. This is because I've been playing around. Ignore the bad stuff. There's no bad thing. What it was, there we go, migration complete. Doom already exists in both because I've been fiddling. So just ignore that. It worked. There you go. Tail scale is now running, but it's running on the other instance, on the other drive. We've moved the data. Okay. See, who doesn't like a good bit of flap? We've also got the App Store as well, so we've got the main channel and the dev channel and the global. I'll come to global in a minute. Heavy caveats with that. It is based on other app stores, so there is some conversion and translating going on. So some of the apps, most of the apps that I've tested now are pretty much working. I think I've got to about 150 or something, but honestly it's really boring, very tiring. I've also added in app dependencies, so if you go ahead and try and install something that has dependencies, it will flag those up. But for now, I'll show you the main store. All the apps are here. There's an update for Axbench as an example. If we click on that, it gives us all the beautiful pictures still. It gives us the information. More importantly, there's a rollback. And this is something that we haven't seen before in other OSs, is the ability to roll back. So let's say somebody releases a bad app and you want to go back to a specific version. You can do that now. The update process is pretty slick. You can literally just smash update and it will update. I can click anywhere to dismiss on this and it will show me an updating here. Proper granular percentage as well as it updates the app. So we'll wait for that to go ahead and finish. And whilst that's doing that, I'll show you the dev channel. Now you can have both channels installed. They come pre-installed. You can use each one of these apps independently. So, or indeed, you can select, should I say, whether you want to use a dev app or a main app. If I want to update to the dev app, I'd literally go in here and click update. If I'm running the same version, it doesn't show an update. But as you can see on the main, it's version for BTCF 0.7.47. So if I wanted to roll back to that, I could. If I look on dev, it's 0.7.92. So again, I can choose to uninstall an app and reinstall it as well. So if I want to move from main to dev, or I just want to uninstall the app, it gives me a couple of options to do that. Now, if I uninstall Axe Live as an example, it gives me the option to keep the data or purge the data. Now, I can be brave and uninstall something like, what's the most awkward one? Axe DGB. That's a pain in the backside. In fact, no, we'll do Axe BCH because that's a really quick startup. I'm going to uninstall it. I'm going to keep the data though. So this is going to go ahead and uninstall my live running Axe BCH, which I'm currently mining to 105.10 terahash, thereabouts. We're going to uninstall that. We're going to leave the data intact, because we selected keep data. There will be a manage data section coming for this, so you'll be able to see anything that is orphaned, and you can choose to remove that data as well. That's not implemented yet, but I think that will be implemented in about 4 updates time. So that's now pulling down all the containers, gracefully shutting everything down and removing it. We'll come back to that once it's done. Settings section, we have system, app store settings, that's just uninstalled. Storage and devices, admin and access, network and access, command console and everything else. It's all pinned down here, nice and easy. App store auto sync, storage and drives. So here you can actually check which drive you want to use for your applications and then save where you want that application to go. So it tells you whether it's an internal disk or an external disk. There'll be a proper renaming structure as well for your external drive, which you can change into here. So you can call it Bob if you wish. And once you've done that, that's it. You've renamed your drive and off you go. You can use your applications on any drive. No more faffing, no more mucking around with devices. You can literally have the drive in here, name it to something and migrate your data, and it will just carry on working. Admin and access, so you can change your username and password. Network access, this is work in development, so there will be a setup wizard for trusted networks and optional integrated tailscale. There is a command console where you can cut and paste actual commands. Local console as well, so you can enable kiosk mode if you have a monitor and mouse and keyboard plugged in, so you can enable that. And you need a GPU obviously as well. Dashboard widgets, so it shows what widgets you wish to have enabled, and you can reset the layout. MQTT exports. This will export to a local MQTT instance on Mosquito. If you enable this, it will stand up Mosquito, and you can decide which apps you want and which events you want to publish to that MQTT. You want party lights when you win a block? You got it. Discord alerts, webhooks. I've just exposed my webhook. Fantastic. So you can have in here. Yeah, I know that somebody's going to publish stuff to my webhook now. So thanks. I might change it. You've got apps in here and events, status changes, hash rate drops, work offline, block found, update success, update failed, and restarting. This is in development for the events. I will get there with this, but for now it is semi-working. Watch this space. There's also an application watchdog. So if I want to run anything with a watchdog on it, if it falls over, it will bring it back up. I've got BTCF enabled and a few other things. I've also got session lock, so session timeout 0, which is infinite, or you can set that to 3, 5, 10, 15, whatever you want. SSH and remote access, I've got it enabled, but you can disable this for security. And there's also updates as well, so you can check for updates and it will tell you if there is an update, and it will seamlessly install that update without restarting apps. So it updates the OS independently of the applications. Right, let's go back into the App Store. Global App Store, as we can see in here, just wait for a second for this to populate because it's pulling all the live data. We've got a whole bunch of stuff in here. Let's say I wanted to install mempool, which isn't going to work with the Axe suite because this mempool version is tied into Bitcoin Core, I believe, and a few other things. If I go ahead and try and install this, it's going to ask me, yeah, once Bitcoin node installed, electors install and other things as well. I'm not going to do that, but I will be releasing a mempool version that works with the Axe suite, and it won't be long because it won't take that long to do. So look, we'll go back to the dev channel, remove mempool, and we'll reinstall AxeBCH. Go ahead and install it. That's now going out, grabbing all the templates and pulling down all the information. It's going to find the local data where it was before. It's going to reattach that data back into the containers, bring it all up, and we'll be almost instantly back online. This means if your app goes wonky, you can delete it, keep the data, and reinstall it. Whilst that is doing that, there is one other thing worth showing you in the settings, and that's Fix App. You can quite literally say, my app is broken, please fix it. And it's going to go ahead and re-true everything, trim everything together so that it works properly from a container perspective, from the JSON and YAML formats and the configs and everything else. It's going to back up your data, basically recreate everything, make sure all the templates are correct and all the mining core configuration or CK pool configuration, repopulate with all your information that you had set in there before, and redeploy the app. So that's now rebuilding from a template, and it's that easy. Back to AxeBCH that we just reinstalled. Let's see, it's starting. So it's starting the container up right now, and any second we should have this come online. There it is, it's online and instantly synchronized 100% because it did a graceful shutdown. DGB, not so good, is it? But that's not my fault. I want to point out that is the DGB backend, that is the node of the core. Okay, there's a failed fix. Some patches, all right, this is work in progress. That was a fix on Axe Live, probably because it was running and I haven't got a shutdown process. But look, we're getting there with this. Bear with me, I'm one guy. This does work. But yeah, there are a few little minor bugs to iron out. But for the best part, it does work. Actually, it's worth mentioning, this version, 0.369, yeah, it doesn't have a fix in there for anything outside of the Axe Suite apps based on nodes. So it's entirely on me, that one. I will get to fixing that. Anyway. Node's back online, the pool's back online. We can see our hash rate did drop. If we go back into the fleet, we can probably see the hash rate picking back up. So there's the massive dip that we can see. The hash rate for AxeBCH is rebuilding at 43 terahash. And if we go back into here, we can see the Avalon queue is ramping back up. So these stats will just take a little minute to come back up, and when they do, we'll be golden again. Last things to show you up here, there's CPU, so you can see CPU utilization. As an example, Bitcoin D here is running 213%. That means it's using 2.13 processors worth of power. So proper cross CPU, multi-CPU support. Memory, no surprises what's at the top, it's gigabyte. Of course it is, using nearly 8 gig. New version, I think, that's coming out. I think it's in testnet at the moment, but when it gets released to mainnet, I will be updating the app as soon as possible, because that's a big bugbear for a lot of people, myself included. So I will get to that. You've also got disk utilization in here as well, because we've got used 1.2 tera on this 2 terabyte drive, and use 51.8 gig of this drive right here. Last thing, I guess, is we can start Doom. Let's give that a start, and we'll see how that runs. But what else is there to show you? There's a power button down here that does stuff: refresh UI, restart, shutdown, and lock. And that's pretty much it. I say pretty much it like it's really simple. This has been a nightmare, but it's really getting there. And that's what I'm really pleased about, is to be able to release this into the community, into you guys that have supported me through all the apps up to this point, and get this absolutely nailed. So that's the goal, that's the idea. And with that, mayhem. I haven't played this for years. Yes. There we have Doom running on our... Oh, I'm no good at this. Running on our... What's fire? I thought it was control. It is control. It's terrible. It always was terrible at this. And I've run out of bullets. Run away. Anyway. That's it. Simple as that. If Doom is left running in the background, there is a little process that will pop up, and this will go for any app saying it's using a whole bunch of resources. Do you want to shut it down? So prepare for that. In the meantime, I would say, stop Doom when you're not using it, because it is a resource muncher, just like everything else. It runs on chocolatey and stuff in the background, which is quite resource intensive. But that's it. Like I say, a few little fixes to go. Some updates are still happening on a daily basis. This is out with the dev testers. You will be able to get your hands on it once I've had some good feedback from those testers, which hopefully shouldn't be too long, and by then some of these small nuances like fix app and stuff will be working. But bear in mind, guys, this is in alpha. It is a very, very functional operating system, but it is in alpha, so treat it as such. And I know it's annoying, but please try not to... There you go. There's a high resource usage. Doom's being naughty, 270%. Although it is stopped now. So yeah, just bear with me. The development will get there. This is a one-man project, and something like this typically takes years to release, and I'm trying to get it out the door at the right time for you guys. So bear with me, and I will clean up on it. If you want any more info, give us a shout. In the meantime, yeah, just hit me up. Leave a comment below if you need any help or advice, and I will update the links here somewhere when it is released, available for you to use. And that's it for now. Take it easy. Happy mining. Good luck. Catch you later.